Welcome back to the session 2 on how human brains work. Now, we're going to talk about meta program in these sessions and trauma. This is what I learned in Neurotransformation Program by Sean Smith. So what meta program means is the macro program that is operating our life. We focus a lot of micro program, which is what our own beliefs are about life, what we think about ourselves, what we think about others, and what we think about the world. However, I never know about this macro program that actually exists until I learn about it. I would think about it like the movie Hunger Game, where someone above us is manipulating us or make us live to believe in a macro area. This macro program is determining how much we see things around us and how we interact with people around us and how we see life before our macro programs get to us. There is a macro programs that really determine how we perceive the world in a big way. This is a very unconscious programming for all of us. We all came from different meta program. So let's say, but then there's like 3 top meta program or macro program that we were all programmed into. So the top 3 macro, the meta programs that we were all programmed in, no matter where you live. This is what I learned when I was learning from one of my coach about money. The top 3 lies that we were programmed to believe. There's not enough. There's not enough in the world for all of us. So we all have to compete. It's not enough. There's only this big pie of apple pie. So you better get your share because it's not enough to go around. The second lies that we were programmed to live in is because there's not enough, I need to get more. I need to get more. And I define who is my family, who is my community, who are my friends. So we need to get more. When I have more, I will share with other people around me, and then I will share with other people that I don't even know. So that creates separation. Number 1, there's not enough. I am not enough. Number 2, it is not enough, so we need to get more. That is why we see how a lot of people are having addiction in shopping. They become shopaholic. They become addictions in drug because I'm not enough. I am not worthy enough. I'm not happy enough. I am not skinny enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not attractive enough. I'm not interesting enough. So I need to get more. I need to get more to fill in the emptiness within us. And the last one, which is the most toxic, is this is the way it is. And there's nothing I can do to change it. This is just the way it is. And whatever I want is not available for me. So I will just live accordingly to what I already know. And I let other people who have the capacity to change. And this is just the way it is. This is just life. How many times you have heard people say, this is just life? I have heard so many people were saying that, you know what? This is just my life. I guess I'm not meant to have abundance. I'm not meant to meet the right guy. I'm not meant to have success in my life. I'm not meant to look pretty. So I will settle for less. I'll just let it be. That is the 3 toxic lies that we were programmed to believe. And that is called the macro program. And that is even before it comes into our micro program that we were programmed by our culture, our family. What is my own belief? What is my parents' belief? So if I use my meta program trying to understand your view of the world with your meta program that are different than mine, I literally cannot understand you. And I cannot do that because I'm looking through the different lenses and trying to understand, why can you see through my lenses? And why can I see through your lenses? So we all see things through our own different lenses. This is one of the reasons why so many people have conflict that can never ever get resolved, because we really don't understand the assisting programs and the power of this program. So what is your micro program or even your meta program, your macro program in your culture? Different people coming from different countries, they have their own macro and micro program because of their culture, of their family belief, of what they're accustomed to. I remember one time, one of my friends, he is in the army, he told me, see, what is normal to you? Define normal. And that was many, many years ago. I have no clue what is the intentions of that questions. And I don't even know this. I'm like, normal is what normal people do. And then he said, wrong, see? Normal is what you're accustomed to. So different people have a different normal in their mind. What is normal to you might not be normal to me. And what is normal to me might not be normal to you. We have to know that both perspectives are correct. You have your own perspective, I have my own perspective. They are all correct. It is just that they're coming from different perspective and different meta program. So we all will program from a different program. When we do, it just makes life so much easier. We need to zoom out from the picture. As we zoom out from just focusing on the picture in the frame, we continue to see the surrounding area getting bigger and bigger. And we see the meta program. And then so many of the things inside that we get focused on, get frustrated by, now it makes sense. When we were so narrow-minded, we get so stuck in our own way. We were stuck in the box. So we need to zoom out. When we zoom out, we can see more and more and more. So we have a better understanding of what is actually happening here. By understanding this will absolutely free us from the actual struggle and cut off the cord from the meta program that is holding us back for many, many years and abusing us out of ignorance. Because we do not understand that we are programmed in a certain way, but we want to operate the other way. And this programming would not allow us to operate that way. But we think we were stupid, we were at fault, we were not smart enough. But that was actually what was taught to us in the society. It is like a fishbowl. So what you can do with this fishbowl is different than what you can do with this fishbowl, because this fishbowl has a greater capacity. So many of us are doing, what we're doing is, we do not understand that inside this fishbowl, we have limited amount of growth available. And that's why we were stuck and we keep banging against the wall. Or people call it glass ceiling. We have, inside this fishbowl, we have limited success. When we live inside this fishbowl, we have limited amount for love, for growth, for success, for the abundance that we want. And that doesn't mean that it's not available for us. But we were trapped inside here. And so we cannot access what is outside here in this bigger fishbowl. Your capacity right now would not allow you to touch it because you are up against the barrier. Meta programs allow us to see the barrier. When we look at the meta program, we zoom out, we say, oh my God, I see it now, and allow us to break the barrier. But we must understand what built the barriers and understand that it is not our fault. And it's not even the goldfish in this little bowl falls, because they were just stuck in this bowl. We were all programmed in this micro program and macro program. But once we can zoom out and see it, oh, Now we can break the barrier. Just like one of the famous saying is, you cannot escape a prison if you don't even know you're in a prison. There's another analog say that when a fish gets sick, you don't treat that fish. You don't give the fish injection. You don't give medications to that fish. But what you do is you treat the water. You take the fish out and you put it into a different fish bowl and you change the water. So which means we change the environment. We treat the water and then they change whatever is going on in the tank, because the fish is really a representation of the surrounding of the tank. And that is what meta program is. We take a look at the meta program that are determine the human experience. And what if we can change the meta program? Instead of just getting frustrated by the human or using force, guilt, shame, judgmental, or whatever method we use trying to change our behavior. Many times we blame ourselves. We conclude that we're not smart enough, we're not enough, instead of looking at what program are we running. If abundance is available to everyone, what am I doing that is not helping me, that is not serving me no more? So take a look at the meta program. So I want to give you an example of what we use in meta program. One of it is called direction filter. That means are we motivated towards something, or are we motivated to run away from something? So it's almost like your driver. Let's take money for example. Most people are motivated away from not becoming broke instead of motivated to become rich. Many people want to experience what they did not like. Many people are chasing the not. Most people don't know what they want in relationship, but they do know what they do not want. For many years, I was like that. I can tell you a list of what I do not want in a soulmate. But when you ask me, what do you want in a soulmate? I got stuck. And I start my own business with the intention that I just want to pay the bills so I can be with my family. I did not say I want to make millions of dollars. Those are not my drive. Those are not my driver. So ask yourself, what are you being driven by? Action filter. What causes people to take action? What causes you to take actions right now? Do you have to be in so much pain and suffering, which is like 90% of the people, to realize that I need to change? And many people, when their life is good, they never thought about changing. They say, you know what, I'm comfortable. I'm okay with where I am right now. I don't want to change because it's too much work. It is a lot of work. But let me tell you what, you don't have to wait until you are in suffering to change. You can change now when you are not stressed, when you are in a relaxing mode. Change now for better. And many people say the enemy for greatness is good. Next, I want to talk about trauma. According to neurotransformational coaching, there are traumatic experience is something happened in our life that was adverse in nature. It means we have expectations that would not meet, or intense emotional experiences. The experiencing is so traumatic that we were in shock. So we all know that our nervous system are only going into 3 different modes. Either you are social in connections, which means you're not stressed, everything is good, you feel safe, you're always in social connection. Or when you were in shock, or when you go through divorce, bankruptcy, stressful situations, your nervous system will go into fight or flight. Or they will freeze. They freeze. And that's what happened to many of us in our childhood trauma experience. We freeze because we could not fight against the adult, and we know that there's no way for us to run away. So what are the choices? We freeze. And that is a stored energy in our body. And we need to release that. We need to go in to get her, the little child. Trauma is how we relate to that experience and how we replay that experience over and over again. So two people can have same traumatic experience but not having the same relationship to trauma. Trauma is not a category of experience. I personally don't believe that. I want to think of trauma as a spectrum. So the intensity changes, but the traumatic experience by itself, our relationship to the adverse event, okay? The intensity of the experience and how we continue to relate to that same traumatic experience. That is called the trauma spectrum. So we have micro trauma all the way to macro trauma. This is so critical because in this society, we don't really talk a lot about trauma until in the last few years. Until the last few years, we start talking about trauma. And even when we talk about trauma, many people don't understand what trauma is. They thought trauma has to be something so bad that happened to a person. But for a child, it doesn't have to be so bad. Because most people do not know how to deal with trauma, so they don't talk about trauma. And for kids, they absolutely do not understand what trauma is. They just can categorize that I'm not happy, I'm happy. This is good or this is bad because they only have limited vocabulary. We are programmed as humans not to have emotions at all. So let alone traumatic experience and trauma emotions. Kids learn best from their parents. And if their parents are not educated, are not knowledgeable about expressing their trauma experience or expressing their emotions, they can't teach the kids what they don't know. And the kids absolutely have no way to find that information. The trauma that seems to be accepted in the society for us to talk about and deal with tends to be called macro trauma. The big stuff, the death, the divorce, the abuse, the grieving, the post-traumatic disorder. A lot of us do not know how to deal with them because it was so uncomfortable. What about the micro trauma? Micro means experience small. The micro experience could be your friends betray you. Your credit card get declined. You were told that you're not smart. You were not paying attention at. You were not seen when you were a baby. Or your parents are emotional, unavailable to you. Or at one point, people laugh at you because you were fat, you were ugly, and so on and so on. Those are the micro trauma. If micro trauma are things that we disrespect or dismiss, because that's the little thing. We thought that's the little thing. We are here to deal with the big things. But I tell you what, if we don't deal with the little things, they will take us over. From my experience, many of my clients, including me, our micro traumas are actually causing much bigger damage than our macro trauma because they are not being addressed and not being resolved. If we don't address our micro trauma, our relationship to adversity, it means that we will be ill prepared to handle any trauma in our life or any macro trauma going forward because we have not handled the ones that we are still carrying around. And it is built up of fear of what if things don't go that way I hope to go, the way I expect it to be, or I am prepared for it. If they don't go that way that I want, then now what happened? It is like dying from 1,000 small cuts, and over time, it will cause us bleed to death. So it is so critical that we have to resolve our micro trauma. Take a look at it. Take a look at it. This trauma of all kind of trauma is embodied. It's stuck in our body. It's not in our mind. It's actually in our body. Many times it is the build up of the micro experience that produce an emotion reaction. that is trapped in the body, which can shut down a person. It is the lack of willingness to address this trauma or embody abilities to address all of our trauma in life that will determine how we think about and how we interact with our future experience. I have so many clients, they are afraid to try something new because they're afraid of failure. Because at one point when they were a child, they make themselves believe that they're not smart enough. So when they realize that, oh, I can never get A, so I just believe that I'm not smart enough. And so what happened is, all these years, they were afraid to try something new. They keep themselves small and they would not allow them to have a dream. They will always say, I'm happy, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. But if you ask them, what is their deepest desire? What do you love to do when you were kids? And they would say, wow, you know, before my mom get upset at me, before I was traumatic by all the adult screaming and yelling at me, why can't I get A, why can't I get B? I really love to do this work. And they were creative. But then because of that trauma, they trapped themselves into this prison and afraid to take step, a big step to go for the dream because they're afraid of failure. So even when our reality circumstances change, the trauma can still live in our body. If trauma lives in our body, then our body will control what we have permission to do or what we have not. The most important questions to ask is, what is your neurological relationship to adversity? If your relationship is hesitation, procrastination, fears, that's one of the main deep reasons why people struggle so much. We have dreams, we have goals, and preparation for so much we want in life, but we feel we cannot do it. So that is an example that there is our embodied trauma because it is not safe. So that's what I want to talk about, meta program and trauma. And that is the 14 ingredients to really help a person change their life. We really need to understand these 14 ingredients to really go deep into understand a human. What make a human do what they're doing, think what they're thinking, act what they are acting, feel what they are feeling. To really change a life, this is what we have to do. And that is what I see is so missing nowadays in a lot of the counseling program, the psychological program, and employee assistance program. For many, many years, I have police tell me, stop asking me to see a psychologist or go to see a counselor because they don't work. And for many years, I questioned, why don't they work? And now this is the answer. I'll see you in my next video.